of our AVR. Now the timers they are frequently also being used for the counter purpose, so we can also say that timer counter we are going to discuss in the coming few classes. Okay. So many applications needs to count an event or generate a time delay. Yes. So we already discussed about a generation of a delay in any microcontroller because they are frequently being used in the microcontroller programming. Okay, so there are different ways we can generate a delay. Means we can write a code, we can count the number of instructions, we can see about what the crystal connected to it, and we are knowing that how many machine cycles are required for the execution of each instruction. According to that, we can sum up the things and we can say that yeah, this is the way we can generate a delay. If you are using a C programming, then inbuilt functions can also be used for the generation of the delay. But in that case, you will find it out that your microcontroller CPU get involved or get busy in executing instructions which are having of no use. Okay, so the best way through which we can generate a delay is the timer. Already I have discussed this thing when we were discussing about the generation of the delay within an AVR assembly as well as the C programming, that there is another way of generation of delay, and that is the timers. Okay, so the timers are the most useful in a generation of the delay. They are also used for counting out the event occurring external to the microcontroller. Let's say the event means if I want to count how many number of student has entered in the class, I can use an IR sensor being installed at the door, and whenever the sensor is being cut, yes, I can say that the event has occurred, and this event can be provided to this timer and they can count the number of events. Okay, so there are so many different applications. This is the example that I have given, but yeah, there are so many other applications in which we need to count the event is nothing but something happening external to the microcontroller, and that microcontroller needs to get the track of it. Okay, so because of this, there are counter register in the microcontroller for doing this specific purpose. Okay, so the register associated with the timer we can call it as a counter register also. We would be discussing the registers associated with this timer counters in detail in this lecture only, but yeah, we can see that there is a register which will make the count of it, that how many number of event has occurred external to the microcontroller. Okay, by connecting that particular thing with the external pin of a microcontroller. Okay, so when we want to count an event, we connect an external event source to the clock pin of the counter register. Okay, I'll be showing you what is the clock pin of a counter. You would have seen T1, you would have seen T0, you would have seen T2. These are some of the external pins where we can connect the event. Okay, and that would be acting as a source of clock to the counter register. So when an event occurs externally, the content of the counter is incremented. So this is a very basic and fundamental way. Generally, the controller timer and the control counter of the controller works. Means if an event occurs, it is being sensed by the pin of your microcontroller, being provided as the eventing source to the register, and as and when the event occurs, the content of this register is incremented. So in this way, the content of the counter register represents how many times an event occurred outside the microcontroller. Okay, so when we want to generate a time delay, so this is a case where we want to count the number of events, but what happens if that is a case in which we want to generate a time delay? So in that case, we need to connect the oscillator to the clock pin of the counter register. So whenever we connect the oscillator that we are using for running our system as a source of a clock to the counter register, then it would be generating a delay for us. So when an oscillator ticks, means whenever an event occur on an oscillator. Okay, event is nothing but the changing of the signal, means whether it is changing from 1 to 0, 0 to 1, we can say that it is an event. Okay, so with every tick, the content of the counter is incremented. Okay, and as a result, the content of the counter represents that how many ticks occur. So if I'll say that 5 clocks. So every 5 clocks, the content of the counter register increases. So means if I read this content of the counter register, I will come to know that how many number of clock cycle has elapsed. Okay, or how many number of time the tick has occurred. Okay, and knowing the crystal, whether it is 1 megahertz, 2 megahertz, from that we can easily find it out the clock period of the clock. Then definitely we can see that how much time it requires for taking out this particular event. Okay, since the speed of the oscillator in the microcontroller is known, we calculate the tick period, and from that content of the counter register we will know how much time has elapsed. Okay, so this is how we can generate a delay. So when we want to use the timer counter for generation of a delay, then we source the clock as an oscillator, and if you want to count the number of event occurring outside the microcontroller, we source the clock with the event that are supposed to be counted. So one way to generate a time delay is to clear the counter at a start time and wait until the counter reaches the certain number. So this is the most basic way we use to generate a delay. So we clear the content of the counter register, we start the counter, and we compare all the time the counter value with some calculated value we will see, and as and when that happens we will come to know that this is an exact amount of time. Okay, so all this thing can be done with help of flags that we will be discussing later on, that we are having a flag which will raise when the counter overflows or when the match occurs. Okay, so basically there are two way we can generate a delay. One we called it as an compare mode, we called it as a CTC mode, and the another we called it as a normal mode. So in normal mode we generally use to wait until the counter overflows, or we will see, or we will monitor the TOV flag of your timer. And if it is a case of compare mode, we will be watching about OCF flag, okay, at the time when the compare occurs. Okay, so giving an example for that, suppose we consider a microcontroller with an oscillator of frequency of 1 megahertz. The content of the counter incremented once per microsecond. So yeah, 1 divided by 1 into 10 raised to 6, definitely it's in 1 microsecond. Okay, so if we want a time delay of 100 microsecond, we should clear the counter and wait until it becomes equal to 100. So it is words, but obvious and natural that if I want to have 100 microseconds of delay, I will always monitor that whether the counter value has reached to the 100 or not. Okay, once it has reached to 100, I will come to know that exactly 100 microsecond of time has elapsed. Okay, so in the microcontroller there are flags for each of the counters. So already I have discussed, so how we'll come to know that whether the match has occurred, whether the overflow has occurred. So there are some flags that are associated with every counters. Okay, so don't confuse yourself with the counter and the timers. Timers and counters, they are one and the same thing, or they are one and the same module, but the purpose is different. The same module, if it is being used in the context of time, it would be called as a timer, but if it is being used in case of counting out the event, it is called as a counters, but both of them are one and the same module. Okay, the second method to generate the time delay is to load the counter register and wait until the counter register overflows. So this is what we called it as a normal mode, and the previously that what we have discussed, we called it as a CTC mode. Okay, we will be talking about CTC and normal mode in detail with all the timers and counters that are available in our AVR microcontroller. So in your normal mode, for an example, in a microcontroller with a frequency of 1 megahertz, if 8-bit counter register means there are two different type of counter registers that are available in our AVR. Even though we know that AVR is an 8-bit, we are having a 16-bit counter as well as the 8-bit counter. So I'll be clearly classifying the counters in these two category, that which counter is of 8-bit, which counter is of 16-bit. Okay, but if in this case, for an example, if I talk about an 8-bit counter register, and if we want only a delay of 3 microseconds, then we would be loading the counter register with the value of FD and wait until the flag raised after 3 tick of a clock. Means at the first tick the value of your counter will become FE. For the second tick your value of counter will become FF, and finally at the third tick the counter will overflow and will become 00. So at that time the overflow flag would be raised, and if we continuously monitor the overflow flag, yeah, we can come to know that whenever after exactly clearing and starting my timer, okay, and between raising of your flag, whatever the time is exactly is a 3 millisecond of a 3 microsecond of a time. Okay, so the AVR has 6 timers. Means it is in general, if we talk about an AVR, then this AVR family, depending upon which family member you are going for, it can be having maximum 6 timers. So they are referred as timer 0, 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5. So we can have different timers on basis of what the family that you are selecting. So please make a note that if we talk about our Atmega 32, it is having 3 timers, but the other, if we talk about Atmega 2556 or the other, then it may be having more than 3 timers also. Okay, at max it can be having 5 timers. So exactly how many number of timers are there, which are of 8-bit, which are of 16-bit, okay, which are the control register for the timers, they can be referred from referring of a data sheet. Okay, so as already I have talked in my lab session, whenever you using your AVR microcontroller, it is very mandatory that you need to go through the data sheet of it. Okay, so that will help you to know that how many number of timers are there and which are of 8-bit, which are of the 16 bits. Okay, so this can also be used as timer to generate a time delay or counter to count the events, okay, happening outside the microcontroller. Depending upon its work that you are getting out of it, it can either be referred as timer, it can either be referred as a counter. So in an AVR, some of the timer counters, they are of 8 bits and some of them are of 16 bit, depending upon which timer counter you are using. Suppose if I talk about our AVR Atmega 32, it is having 3 timers, timer 0, 1 and 2. And out of this, timer 0 and timer 2, they are of 8 bit, but timer 1 is of 16 bit. So timer 1 is of 16 bit and timer 0 and timer 2, they are of an 8 bit. Okay. So already we have talked that there are 3 timers, 0, 1 and 2, where 0 and 2 they are of 8-bit while timer 1 is of 16-bit. Okay, the general view of timer and counter in our microcontroller is something like this. Okay, so this is a general view, means generally every microcontroller is having this kind of internal architecture or internal block diagram, that there will be a register where we can load the value or we can see for the comparison of the value, and this can be sourced for the clock from 2 different sources. Either we can source it from an oscillator or either we can source it from the external sources, and on basis of that it would be either working as a timer or a counter. Suppose if I'll source it from an oscillator, probably it is working as a timer, but if I'll source it from the external source, probably many of time we can find it out that it would be working as a counter. Okay, so with every tick in either oscillator or an external source, the content of this register is incremented. Okay, and according to that, how you configured your timer, whether you have configured your timer in a normal mode or in a CDC mode, according to that the the flag will be raised, whether the flag is your TOV flag or whether flag is your OCA flag. Okay, so the flag would be associated with it. So this is the general structure of your timer. Okay, so let us see how we can program this timer 0, 1 and 2 of our AVR Atmega 32. Okay, so every timer needs a clock pulse to tick, whether it is an external clock or whether it is an external source or whether there is an oscillator. Hello, I request everyone to please mute your mic so that unnecessarily there may not be any disturbance. 28 number, please mute your mic. Okay, thank you. So if you use the internal clock source, then the frequency of crystal is fed into the timer, okay, and therefore it is used for the time delay generation, and consequently it is called as a timer. But if we choose an external clock option, we feed the pulse through one of the AVR pin, whether it is T0, T1, T2, okay, that particular time the timer will be called as a counter. Okay, so you do not have to confuse by the name, the module is one and the same. So if you are sourcing it with your oscillator, it is working as a timer. If you are sourcing it with the output pulses or external pulses, it will be working as a counter. Okay, so this is the basic block diagram of your timer 0. Okay, so these are the registers that we need to talk about, and these are the flags that we also need to talk about. Okay, so one of the most important register is your TCCR register. Okay, and the another most important register is your TCNT register. The other is your OCR register, and two flags we talked about is a TOV flag and OCF flag. So all the three timers are having this registers and the flags. Okay, the naming would be done as if it is associated with timer 0, it would be called as a TCCR0. If it is being associated with timer 1, it would be called it as a TCCR1. That is only the case. Okay, same way TOV0 or TOV1, TOV2, and same way OCF0, 1, 2, TCNT0, sorry, TCNT0, TCNT1A, TCNT1B would be called for the 16-bit. We will be discussing it later on. And same way we are having an OCR register. So what happens that every time, so this TCCR register is used for controlling that how you are going to use your timer. We'll be discussing each bit of your TCCR register in detail. These are the TOV flags. So they are available in a special function register SFR that we have talked about. They are available in your IO section, and obviously this all this register TCCR, TCNT, OCR, all these registers are also available in your IO section of your RAM. Okay, so what happened? You can load the value in your TCNT. Okay, you can start your timer. So with every tick, whether it is external or an internal, the content of your TCNT will increment. Okay, and if it is work in CTC mode, it will be every time continuously being compared with your OCR register, and if the match occur, the OCF flag would be raised. Okay, if it is working in a normal mode, whenever the value of TCNT overflows, means if it turns from FF to 00, okay, your TOV flag would be raised. Okay, so these are the registers that are associated with your timer 0. Okay, so let us talk about each register in detail. Okay, so in AVR, for each of the timer, there are TCNT register, and N stands for for which timer it is associated with. If it is 0, then it would be TCNT 0. So N stands for, so if it is at mega 32, the N can get on value from 0, 1 and 2. Okay, so as I already told you, there are three timers. So TCNT 0, TCNT 1 or TCNT 2 would be the TCNT registers associated with your AVR microcontroller. Okay. So the TCNT register is what the counter. Already in the previous slides we talked about the counter register, and many of the places we talked about counter. So this counter register is nothing but it is TCNT. Okay. So it is also very important to know that whenever you reset your microcontroller, the value of TCNT will be equals to 0. So it contains the 0 value at every reset. Okay. So it counts up with each pulse, means whether it is external or internal, with every pulse it will count in the upward direction. Okay, the content of this timer counter can be accessed using the TCNT register from your IO section of your RAM. Okay, and all of us know that which are the instructions that can be used to access the IO section. Can anyone tell me which instruction we generally use to access the IO section of the RAM? Yes,
In
42
and out.
number. 42 number. Hello, 42 number. Are you there?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so which instruction we can use for accessing the IO section of RAM? Hello, 42. Okay, so it is in and out instruction already being mentioned by number 19 that we would be using in and out instruction for accessing this TCNT, as TCNT is in the IO section. Okay, and if we access the TCNT, it will be giving us the value of the counter. Okay, so we can load the value into TCNT register or read the value as it is with help of IO section, as it is in the IO section. Easily with help of in and out instruction, we can read the content of your TCNT. Okay. Now each timer has a flag, that is what we call it as a TOV flag, that is timer overflow flag. Okay. So this timer overflow flag, when timer overflows, this flag would be set to 1. Okay. And for clearing it, yeah, we would be discussing that it cannot be clear automatically. We need to clear it by the software instruction. And writing a 1 in it, the TOV flag, we can reset the value of your TOV flag. So whenever timer overflows, so already we have talked about that thing in the previous slide, that if I load the value of the timer register TCNT as FD, then after 3 clock it will become FF, and finally it will reach to 00. So from transiting from FF to 00, we called it as an overflow occur. So at that time your TOV flag would be raised. So each timer also has TCCR register. Okay, so TCCR register is nothing but we called it as a timer counter control register. Okay, so this is used for setting the mode of the operation. Already I have made you familiar with the two mode of operation. One we called it as a normal mode, another we called it as an CTC mode. So in which mode I want my timers to work. So there are the other modes also, and looking to this TCCR registers, we will come to know that in which different mode the timer counter registers or the timers of the AVR can work. It can also be used for PWM, it can use for fast PWM also, but generally we use it for normal mode and CTC mode. Okay, so you need to configure your TCCR register for setting the mode. Okay, so for example, we can specify that timer 0 to work in timer or a counter mode by loading the value, proper value in TCCR. We will look at what the proper value is. Okay. Now each timer registers, or each timer is also having OCR register. Okay, that is what we call it as an output compare register. Okay, so in this case the content of OCR is compared with the content of TCNT. So already I have showed that thing in the previous slide, that this is your TCNT register and this is your OCR register. So every time when an event occurs, the value is incremented and it is compared with your OCR register. And when the compare occurs, the OCF flag would be raised. So same thing is we are going to discuss in the words also. Okay. So when they are equal, the OCF flag would be set. Okay, and this OCF flag, TOV flag, they are available in the TIF register of your Atmega 32. Okay, so the timer registers are located in an IO section memory. Okay, and we can read and write this timer using in and out instruction, like the other IO registers that we have seen in the IO section of the RAM. So we have seen this IO section of our RAM in detail when we were discussing the RAM of our AVR. Okay. Now let us concentrate upon our timer 0. So we would be looking to the timer 0, timer 1 and timer 2 one by one. So let us start first of all looking about the timer 0 programming. Okay. So this is actually the internal block diagram of your timer 0. So let me explain each and everything that are associated with the timer 0. So starting from over at T0. Okay. So if you recall, then when we were discussing the pins, external pins of 40 pins of our microcontroller Atmega 32, I have talked about this T0. That T0 is used for providing the source of clock to the timer 0. Okay, so this is the T0 external pin of your Atmega 32. and whatever the event occurring on this T0 would be provided to the edge detector. So now it is in your hand that whether you want to tick your timer at the rising edge or a falling edge of your event. So for that we are having an edge detector. Okay. The another thing is the prescaler. Okay. So whenever we are using the internal source or internal oscillator or an oscillator of your system for ticking up, means indirectly if I talk about the working of your timer 0 in the timer mode. Okay. So if you use this, then it will be working in the compare mode or counter mode. But if it is working in a timer mode, there are two options for you, whether you can directly give clock as an input source to your timer, or you can divide that clock. So for that we are having a prescaler circuitry over here. Okay, where the input is taken as a clock directly in it, and it can either be divided by 8, divided by 64, divided by 256, or you can divide it by 1024. Okay. So in the previous example that we have talked about, let's say that my crystal is of 1 megahertz. So every tick it would be a 1 millisecond microsecond. So if I talk about this TCNT, it is only a 8-bit register because your timer 0 is an 8-bit timer. So this is only of an 8-bit. So in this case, what happens that if you are directly using a clock source, then the maximum delay or the maximum time that can be managed with the direct clock as a source input is only of 255 microseconds. Okay. Now, if you want the greater value than that, bigger value than that, then you should have to divide your clock. So you can divide the clock by 8 so that the amount of delay that can be handled is 255 into 8. So if you divide the clock by 8, this value would be multiplied by 8. Okay. Divide by 64, 256, 1024. Okay, so you can have the delay with this single timer 0. The maximum delay with 1 megahertz is 1024 into 255 microseconds. Okay, now over here you would be having a multiplexer that will give you the feasibility of selecting any one source for your timer, rising edge, falling edge, or direct clock, or your prescaled clock. Okay, now you can see that the 0 number line of your multiplexer is connected to ground, means if you select the 0, your timer will stop. So to stop the timer, you will be providing this select line as 0, 0 and 0. Okay, now from how you can give that thing, so these are the 3 bits. We called it as a CS02, CS01 and CS00. They are available in your TCCR register. So providing the value in your CS0, CS02, CS01 and CS00, the source of your timer tick would be selected. Okay, that would be given to your control unit. Okay, the control unit would be deciding whether it must be working as a timer, it must be working as a counter, whether you want to clear your TCNT 0, whether you want to have an up count or a down count and all that thing. So all that thing would be decided by your control unit, and you can see that over here you are having WGM01 and WGM00. So these are also the bits which are available in your TCCR register, and they would be helping you to decide that in which configuration you want your timer to work, whether you want your timer to work in counter mode, normal mode, PWM mode, or fast PWM mode. Okay, so already we have talked about the TOV flag. So when this timer counter registers overflow from FF to 00, this flag would be raised. Okay, we also talked about your OCR register, and you can see it is mentioned over here that both the registers are of 8-bit. So it is an 8-bit timer. Okay, so there is a comparator which will always compare every time. It will compare your TCNT and OCR, and according to that it will raise the OCF flag. Am I clear, my friends? Hello. Hello, am I clear? Hello. Hello, 43. Hello, 43. 43 number. Hello, 43 number. Are you there? I don't think 43 number is with us. I think he is sleeping, just turning on the Microsoft Teams. Otherwise, mentally he is not present. So let me remove him from the meeting. Okay, 27 number. Hello, 27 number.
Yes, sir.
Are you clear? Are you clear with all the blocks of your timer zero? All the registers, all the pins, all the bits? Yes?
Yes, sir. Clear.
Okay, so now let's move further for discussing your TCCR register. So this is TCCR register is your timer counter control register. And yeah, why it is called as a timer counter control register? Because it is going to control all the things in your timer zero. Okay, so let us discuss, and this of course this TCCR register is also available in your IO section of your Atmega 32. It is available in an IO section, so you can read and write the value. You can see over here that it can be read write. Only the first bit, that is OCF0, is not a read write. It is only a write of bit. Okay, you can write it. You cannot read that value. Okay, otherwise all the values are of read write type. All the bits are of read write type. Okay, so let us try to discuss all these bits one by one, starting from your LSB. So you can find it out CS0, CS02, CS01 and CS00. Okay, so these are the three bits that are directly connected to the multiplexer select line. Okay, now on basis of these three values, so these three values means you are having 8 different combination. Okay, so if I talk about this 8 different combinations, 000, no clock. So at that point of time means if you are providing 000 over here, the no clock is provided to your control unit. So definitely your timer will stop. Okay, same way 001, your direct clock is supposed to be provided. 010, that is divide by 8. Consequently, 64 clock divided by 64, clock divided by 256, clock divided by 1024, and rising and falling age of an event occurring at time pin number T0 of your AVR microcontroller will give you, you will be selecting that with help of 110 or 111 of CS02 to CS00. Am I clear? Okay.
Yes, sir.
Now the other two bits that we can see is your WGM00 and WGM01. So looking over here, WGM00 and WGM01, as I heard talked about 4 different modes of operation of your time. So if you provide 00 value over here, means bit number 6, and bit number 3, if you provide 00 value, it will be working in a normal mode. So in normal mode, we generally use to monitor our TOV flag. Okay, if it is provided as 01, it will be working in CTC mode, okay, where we would be monitoring our OCF flag. If it is 10, it will be working in PWM mode, and if it is 11, it will be working in fast PWM mode. Okay, now these two, COM0 and COM1, okay, so they are generally used for the compare output mode. So that we will be discussing later on, because it is supposed to be using the comparison of that. So that two bits would be discussing later on, when we will be discussing the compare output mode of the timers. So this is generally used for generation of the waveform. So Bluetooth, Shortwave waveform, what type of waveform that you want to generate, you can generate with the help of COM0 and COM1. Then OCF0, so it is for the force compare match. Okay, so it is going to be used with this COM0 and COM1. Okay, so this is write only bit which can be used while generating a waveform. So when we will be discussing the waveform generation, okay, PWM and all that thing, at that time we will be making more clear things related to your OC0 and COM1 and COM2 flags. Okay, the flags that we talked about, that is TOV flag and OCF flag, so they are available in our TIFR register. So again, this TIFR register is available in your IU section. So it is having so many flags in it. Okay, so starting from bit number 0, it is TOV0 flag. Okay, So it is equals to 0 when timer 0 is not overflow, and it is equals to 1 when timer 0 is overflow. Okay. Same way we are having OCF 0, that is for compare match did occur or not. If match occurs, it will give you 0, otherwise it will become 1. So that will work with your OCF flag. Okay. Sorry, OCF timer 0 means if compare occurs, it will raise the flag. Same way we are having TOV1 flag. Okay, and we are having two OCF flags because our timer 1 is the 16-bit timers. Okay, then we are having an ICF flag where you can talk about the input capture flag. Okay, so that also we will be discussing when we'll be discussing compare match kind of a thing. Then we are having TOV, and then we are having OCF2. So these are the flags that are associated with your timer. So all the timer flags, they are included in a TIFR register. Okay, whether it is timer 0, timer 1 or timer 2, all the flags that are associated with your timer, they are being accommodated in the one timer flag register, that is TIFR, timer counter interrupt flag register. Okay, why it is called as an interrupt flag register? Because raising this flag will generate an interrupt. Okay, so there are also the other way, means your timers are also having the interrupts. Means if the timer overflow and if you have enabled the interrupt of a timer, looking to a TOV flag, the interrupt will be generated. Okay, so this was all about your timer 0 and the timers of your AVR microcontroller. So if you are having any kind of doubt, you can ask me. Okay, otherwise in the next class we will be discussing about how we can program our timer 0 in a normal mode or in the CTC mode. So we will be talking about the programming, writing down the code for the timer 0 in the next class. Is there any doubt?
No, sir.
Okay, so if you are having no doubt, I'm done with the today's class. Thank you very much. Okay, in the next class we'll be talking about how we can write the code for timer 0. Okay, thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.